Welcome to Later in Life. I'm Lana, and today is Saturday, July 4th, 2026. I'm all decked out in my Patriot shirt. Hope you guys are having a great holiday. Today, I'm going to go through just a little bit on relationships, connecting to how we can become what's called an adapter in the relationship. And it's not quite so bad when both of you are somewhat adapting. But we're going to talk about the definition of this word because it caused me to look at some things about myself. And I already been down this path, but it really connected in. Do you remember the movie with Richard Gere and Julia Roberts that was called Runaway Bride? And do you remember the part where he's trying to bring to her some revelation of knowledge? She doesn't even know how she likes her eggs cooked because she just adapted with whoever she was with. So in each of her relationships with men, the men that she was going to marry at different times, and she would run away at the altar, she would find herself liking her eggs cooked however they liked them. And this was a pattern, and we've talked about patterns before in another video. This is what I would call, I kept coming up with the word adapter, because I think, well, I'm an adapter. I I can adapt into situations. I can, whether I'm at work or in a relationship, I can adapt. And I've always felt like that was a good quality. However, it can cause some problems if you're not very sure about who you are and have a good feel for like your identity. And I've got my notes down here so I don't miss anything because I structured this thing out into some pros and cons to kind of help us zoom in on what we might have going on that we need to address with ourselves. So first of all, what I would automatically say to the word adapting is, well, I would try that. I might be able to do that. I might like that. And for an example, it's like I always thought maybe I'd like to get a little camper and go camping, because I do like to fish, and but that's about it. I like to get in the boat. I like to fish early morning. But really, other than that, not too into nature stuff. Um, but I've been around some different people that might like to do camping things. So I've tried it a few times. I really would rather be in a motel room. I think I would rather go to a resort, um, the hotel room, you know, I I think that's who I am. And the problem is you can try to talk yourself into liking something or being okay doing something. And it doesn't mean that you wouldn't ever compromise with someone and go do that thing, but to really take that on as a part of who you are and what you like, and in the list of things of the things I like to do and how I want to live my life, we need to start really looking at this, that later in life we haven't just adapted so much that we've lost who in the world we are, because I feel like I did that. So maybe this might be something that will help all of you, because that is the purpose of this whole network, um, and my channel. So creating compatibility together with someone in a relationship, it it needs to have mutual effort. It needs to have a compatibility, and you need to agree on a few things, and you may have to do some give and taking, but it shouldn't be in an area like a value area or like a real strong hobby area where you just don't want to do it, or it just isn't going. Those are things you got to talk about early on in your when you're dating online or dating on the first meet, somewhere in those first few months. Some of these things need to come to the surface. And, once again, it doesn't matter how much you like somebody, there's got to be some things here that you are solid on about yourself. Unless it is something that's just something that's just a compatibility, a small thing where you can just compromise, once or twice a year, and you just kind of, okay, I'll go camping. It's not my favorite thing, but I'll do it if you want to. But I'm not going every weekend. I'm not going every month. I'm not going to do an adventure road trip camping thing for like 5 months and just go everywhere. I just don't think that that's me. However, it might be you. You just need to know. Um, so healthy compatibility are trying new things together. You can try new things. That's how we learn what we like. And sometimes later in life, there's a lot of stuff we've not tried. Just depends how open you've been. Um, I tried golf not too long ago. Um, it was okay, but it wasn't something that I was going to do by myself. I found myself not really looking forward to that. So that's probably not going to be a thing for me. Um, but I wouldn't have known about it unless I tried it. So, I mean, I do feel like it's healthy for us to try things, but then you got to make an evaluation that's honest with yourself. So, trying new things are good. Deciding what you like and what you don't like is good. Is this going to be a compromise issue, or am I going to be forced into something? Am I going, and I'm using that sounds like a strong word, to be forced, but is it so important to the other person in your relationship? Um, and this can go for men as well as women. That's why I'm kind of not doing girl and guy terminology. I think as a relationship, I've had a comment or two from some men that have watched my videos, and because I do take up for men in the relationship a lot. There's a lot of women that are just like bashing men all the time in relationships, and I I just am not one to want to do that. I think we need to understand the person, and there's many women out there that are good women, and there's lots of men out there that are good men. We just got to find each other. So what I found interesting, and I did look this up on ChatGPT because I do use it for some definitions and stuff, but I was telling it about, I think that it can be a bad thing if you're adapting um, in a relationship, and it's like you're the only one adapting, you're the only one that may be making an effort. And it came up with something that's called a one-way adapter and a two-way adapter. And it's saying the one-way adapter is an accommodation. We are accommodating the other person. That's really not, that can lead to things. And what it can lead to is it can lead to people pleasing. It can lead to resentment toward that other person. Even though you're in there doing these things, you can start building resentment. You can become really just too easy, too easy to get along with, like giving in all the time, just too easy. You can become really more passive, which might have a tendency to appear kind of weak if you're doing that too much with too many things, because you don't hold on to your identity and who you really are. You really want this relationship to work. You really like so much about them. They're cute, whatever it is that you've got. But he's not right for you. He may not be right for you. If there's so many things that you're adapting to, you got to be really honest with yourself. And one of the results of this, and I could see this because I think this happened to me, and it creates an emotional drain. You feel emotionally drained all the time, and you don't understand why, but it's because you are providing so much effort. The effort that it's taking to do all the stuff that he wants to do or she wants to do, it's draining you. Because and see, this is all the problem here is communication. You've got to communicate from the very beginning, and you've got to know yourself well enough to know how to communicate what you like and what you don't like with that other person in such a way that you can decide, are these big enough issues to where we really don't have that much in common that we need to continue this? Or how important are these things to each other? So, this sounds really simple, like you would just automatically be doing this, but I don't think we do. I mean, I've made it into my 60s, and I'm this hit me, the adapter. I was real proud of it. You know, I'm an adapter. I can adapt. I can just hang in there with you, even though I'm not happy doing that, even though I'm really getting a little pissed off with you about this. Seems like I'm always having to do this or go there, or I don't know. Like I said, we all know there's compromise, and we all know we don't get our way all the time. And we have to, when we like someone, or we're in love with someone, we want to do things. And you do have to do that. But there is a line in there that I'm trying to bring up, and you have to draw the line where you need to draw the line. So the one-way adapter is a accommodation. You're accommodating them, whether you like it or not. The two-way adapter is collaboration, which is a good thing. This is what we should be doing. Both people collaborating. Here's what I liked. What do you think? What do you think? Well, could we do this? Could we do it like maybe once a quarter? Could we go camping? and do all this, and maybe I can make, the camping more accommodating. Maybe I can make this camping experience a little bit more pleasing to you in some way. I mean, that's collaboration. You think of things you can do to make things better for each other. So if you're in a relationship, you need to be talking about these things early on and often, and as they come up, and then agree to disagree or figure out what you feel about it. Express your feelings. You've got to know what you like and what you don't like. So if you don't know, try it. You're not going to know until you try it, unless it's something that's like unethical, or like it's something weird that somebody's come up with that you just don't want any part of, and this could go into all areas of the relationship. So, you got to be all kinds of intimacy things. There's all kinds of financial things. There's all kinds of family things that, you got to know where to draw the line on stuff, and what you're going to collaborate on and what you're going to um, back away from. The pros to the collaboration, the good thing about the collaboration, when you're both adapting to some degree in a healthy way, there's flexibility. You both can be flexible in different areas at different times. It can build a resiliency in you because you know what you know, and you're doing what you're doing, and you're making good decisions, and you're deciding what I'm doing, what I'm not doing. I'm even resilient in the sense that I'm going to do this for you. This weekend, we're going to go camping. I'm just using as an example. It could be anything. Um, and I really want this to be a great weekend for us. And you figure out how to make it fun. It creates understanding about each other, which is always good. It can create harmony, especially if you're maintaining your value and your identity and who you are, and you're speaking up and you're communicating. So this is how you want your relationship to really start out. Don't be the doormat going into a relationship, but don't be I'm just going to say, don't be the bitch all the time. Don't be so hard to get along with. Don't be so hard to. We can do that. I mean, there's women that can do that, and there's men that can do that, but we need to be. And I'm coming across in a Christian type manner here with my network, that my channel, YouTube channel, because we should have a heart for people. That's who I'm talking to primarily, but you may stumble onto my channel and be interested in the topic. But I want to encourage you to open up your heart and care about people. Men and women we need to be caring about people in our world. So compromising, both are giving in on the issue, and it builds teamwork. There's also this word called transition. And so as a relationship begins, you're constantly in a transition as you're moving into it. So you're transitioning from one idea, one topic to another, to You're always transitioning, and so you have to stay communicating about that, and you can't just be adapting in. Um, you've got to be honest about everything you guys are doing, everything we're doing, as the weeks go by and we make decisions on what we're doing, where we're going, um, places, people that we're going to get around. You need to watch how each other, that's the other thing when you're around people. That's how you're going to know. For women, this is how you're going to know how he acts around other women and even other men. Is he, I've been around the big show off. Um, now there's degrees of that. I mean, I had one that got really bad. He would drink when he was around people, and he got really um, got a little bit out of line a little bit, and that as much as I did kind of get along with him in other areas, that I had to back out of it. I had to get out of it because how they're going to act around your friends and family, and I mean, if they just turn into something, you don't know, ladies and men, you're the same. You don't know when you first meet and you're first dating, if you don't get them around family and friends at some point. I mean, if you think that if you've got a potential of a relationship, somewhere soon there needs to be getting them around your family and friends enough to where you can see how they're responding. And people can have hangups on this, and they can have some personalities that just kind of come out, and um, you got to decide if it's a deal breaker, and better to find out sooner than later, right? So anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up because I think I've hit all my major points. If you don't catch the adapter, the bad sides to that, where you're giving in all the time and it's a one-way adapter and you're it. Like I said, it can lead to resentment towards yourself, even to where you're mad at yourself, and you're going to have problems with your own talking to yourself and how you think about yourself and what you believe about yourself and who you are. It'll affect you. It's also going to, build resentment toward the other person, even though they could be clueless that you're having all this struggle going on inside because you've not communicated it to them. And maybe you're covering that up really well. We can do that, ladies. It can lead to, in an extreme case, and I really feel like I was there, it can lead to a type of depression because you've just got, it's just layers and layers of it. If you've just done it with several things in life to kind of keep the peace, to kind of just go along, to get along. Oh, yeah. It can create an aloneness because you start isolating a little bit more yourself because you're not feeling well. So it can create an unbalanced life. So it's real important to be collaborating, and there's nothing wrong with adapting in small things, but watch the major value issues and talk about it. Communication is key from the very beginning of your conversations. That is something that I had down here that I just wanted to go over with you, because later in life it's important that we learn. We learn about ourselves. We learn what we want in our life, what type of person we want in our life, what type of friends and family. There's seasons for things, and there's seasons when we're maybe closer to family and friends than other seasons. So anyway, put down in the comments if you've got an idea or if you've experienced being an adapter in a relationship and how that went for you. And go ahead and be sure and hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel and follow me on Rumble.